Hello everyone, this is Rudy coming to you once again with another video on how I lowered my A1c numbers from 10.2 to 6.4. I'm doing these videos basically to share my experience of how I was able to bring those numbers down and to maintain a healthy lifestyle going forward. As you know, people living with diabetes and pre-diabetes and insulin resistant and other metabolic issues, it's a challenge. But if you put your mind to it, and if you're disciplined, and if you tell yourself that you're going to do whatever it takes to live a healthy life, you can bring your numbers down. I'm not sure whether you can. In some places, persons would say that you can reverse diabetes, but I think I was caught up in that trap one time too, because my numbers were a bit high. If you saw my previous video, I spoke about it, and I was able to bring it right back through diet and exercise. And then I feel okay, well, I reversed this thing, and I got complacent and started doing the same stuff again that perhaps led to me being pre-diabetic and diabetic in the first place. So that to me tells me that you don't reverse it. I think what you do, and I'm not an expert in this, I'm not a doctor, I'm not offering any medical advice or anything like that, just to say that I don't think you reverse diabetes. I think you keep it under control, where it doesn't bother you, it doesn't take your numbers up. You keep your fasting blood sugar under control, and I think there's where it is. If you eat healthy, you kind of take out sugary foods from your diet and high carb foods and stuff like that. And if you for those of you who are on medication, if you're taking your medication, and I think you can control the whole thing because when you don't do anything about it, then is where you lose control, and then all sorts of complications as a result of high blood sugar begin to happen to you. So you can live an extremely healthy life being diabetic or pre-diabetic or insulin resistance. You just have to do whatever it takes, meaning change your diet. You got to come to grips with, you have to change your diet. You can't just eat like normal. It doesn't mean you can't have those foods, as I've said in previous videos. There are ways and means you can have those foods moderately, and how you can use them, like rice, pasta, stuff like that, bread and all that. You can do things like cooling or reheating and all that. I spoke about that in other videos, and there are tons of information on the internet about that. So that's not even a secret anymore. Everybody knows about that. And that really works. I can tell you about that. It works. And so I want to talk to you about some sweeteners that I use actually. Now, I rather not, like if I'm having my coffee, for example, or my tea, because I used to use sugar before, I'm not using sugar now. Sometimes you still want that a little sweet taste or so. Now there are some sugars that are no, table sugar, of course, and so on. You don't want to have that. But I want to talk to you about a couple of sweeteners that I read about and that I use. I'm not telling you to use these things. Before you use anything, you should consult your doctor and make sure, or your dietitian, and make sure that you have clearance to use those things. That's very important. You have clearance from your doctor or your dietitian before you change anything and do anything. So number one is allulose. Allulose is a sweetener from a plant, and all the research has shown it does not spike your blood sugar. It works just as good as regular table sugar in terms of adding some sweetness to whatever it is that you want to add some sweetness to, whether it's your coffee or your tea, or you're baking something, you're having cookies or whatever it is. Yeah, so I'm on this bike here doing my cycling. I used to walk. I still walk a little bit, but I want to change it up a bit and do some cycling now. So I have this spin bike here that I'm using. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so allulose is a very good one because all the information that I've seen online from doctors and from the experts says that allulose is a good product to try. And like I said again, I have to keep repeating this before you try anything. Talk to your doctor or dietitian. The next one is monk fruit. I use monk fruit sweetener, and you can get them at most places, at least here in the US. For people that follow me from Guyana, I'm not sure what's the situation there. And but you can get those, and stevia, of course. I know you can get stevia in Guyana, because since I was there, they had the stevia. And test after test and studies after studies have shown that at least those three you basically have no issues with them. And they're really diabetic friendly, and it really adds that sweetness back into your whatever it is that you want some sweetness with. So that's basically what I really want to tell you about today, about those three sweeteners. And so you can have that. The other thing I want to tell you about as well is this molasses. So molasses is an interesting thing because it has some stuff in it, some minerals and vitamins and so on, that is very good for diabetic people. However, because it's sugar, molasses is actually sugar, you have to be very, very careful with that. So on one hand, the stuff that is in it that is good for diabetic people, but on the other hand, you gotta watch those sugar spikes. So it's all about how you use them. So, like one time I made some lemonade, and I sweetened with like 1 spoon. I usually, up here we get the blackstrap molasses, but I know in places like Guyana you get the raw stuff. You get proper thing there. And when I was a child growing up, and let's say you have a cold or something, you would squeeze some lime juice, and you would add a spoon of molasses to it and just kind of thin it out there, and you would have that. I can't even remember now if it got rid of the cold or what, but that was like a remedy. That was like a go-to remedy for many things. So I use the blackstrap molasses in some lemonade here. It tastes good and all that. So I didn't test my blood sugar to see if it spiked it or what. But I know after that I went for my little walk. So even if there was a spike, I would have mitigated it by doing that's what I basically do, Like I came here and I'm riding on because I've had something to eat, and I had some potatoes. Not a lot, But still, although I do all my protocols, which is I will have my supplements, I would have my apple cider vinegar, I would eat my food, and then I would head straight out, whether it's the gym or for a walk. In this case, I'm at the gym, and I'm going for about a 30-minute cycling. So that's like routine for me. And if you can follow something like that, talk to your doctor and see what you can do. But let's not sit around and allow ourselves to get unhealthy or anything. So for all the people out there who are dealing with this condition, diabetes and pre-diabetes and insulin resistance, and have other metabolic issues, I want you to know that we can win. We can live extremely healthy lifestyles as if nothing has happened to us. If only we do the right things. Okay? So until next time, see you.